Originally from a state in India called Gujarat, and my granddad was a serial entrepreneur. He saw an advertisement in the paper. There was a factory up for sale. They didn't know anything about the plastic industry. I want people to come to a shop and ask for a phoenix chair, not just a chair.
Hi guys, and welcome to the third episode of the CALCircle. As you know, this is a podcast where we sit down and chat with the personalities behind some of Sri Lanka's most iconic family businesses. And today we are joined by a very close friend of mine, Anam Omar. Anam is a third generation director of Phoenix Industries. This is probably one of Sri Lanka's most recognizable lifestyle brands. I'm sure all of you guys also have seen their plastic products, and you all probably have some of it at your house right now or office or wherever it may be. Anam, thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks a lot for having me, Sachin.
It took a lot of convincing to get Anam here today, but I'm really happy that you did join. So, right off the bat, Anam, I want to kick off, right? When we think of the Omar family, and when we think of your family, right? The common idea that comes to our head is Brandix.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows you guys as the family behind Brandix, one of Sri Lanka's biggest businesses.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't know, unless they know you personally, is that was not your first business, right? Phoenix was your first business. Can you tell us a little bit about the background behind A, the family, and B, these two iconic businesses that you started?
Sure.
Yeah.
So if we go all the way back to how the family ended up in Sri Lanka, both my grandparents on my dad's side, both their fathers used to do business in Sri Lanka.
Okay, and where were they from?
Originally from a state in India called Gujarat.
Okay.
So they were quite familiar with the country.
Right.
And then when the conflicts in India started escalating, the village that they were living in got looted one day.
Okay.
So everyone had to move.
Right.
That's the story. I mean, that's what happened. That's what we've heard. And because they were so familiar with Sri Lanka, they both fathers of my grandma and granddad decided to move here independently. So my grandparents have been living in Sri Lanka from quite a young age. So that's how the family moved to Sri Lanka. And my granddad was a serial entrepreneur. He has been dipped his toes in every industry that you can think of. He also used to be a disc jockey and a DJ, and he has made movies. So he had a really colorful life and was really risk forward, I would say, which has served us well over the years.
So they came to Sri Lanka,
yeah.
right? And did they start off the business immediately? I'm sure they came around 48, 49.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know the exact timelines there. But so my granddad is the one who actually started Phoenix. How it all happened was he saw an advertisement in the paper at that time, and there was a factory up for sale. All old machinery. They didn't know anything about the plastic industry, which is primarily injection molding. But he took my dad with him, and they went for the auction and kind of playfully bid for the business.
So what were they doing before that?
I don't know. Yeah. So they bid for the business. They didn't really know how they were going to pay for it, but nice. They won the bid, and that's how it all started. So the next day, my dad kind of went in, and they had to refurbish all the machines, and over the years, it got built into something bigger than they imagined.
So I'm assuming this is, I read on your website that it started around the 1970s, right? So this was in the 1970s.
Yeah.
So at this time, there was no apparel business. Brandix
Not a significant business. So, but it took off quickly after Phoenix started. Phoenix was kind of the springboard that helped us get into the other industries, and apparel was kind of taking off soon after that.
So your grandparents and your dad essentially built two huge Sri Lankan businesses pretty much concurrent to each other. That's amazing.
And my dad and his brothers, so they were all involved in the businesses. When the apparel side started taking off, at one point there were sewing machines also under the Phoenix roof because they felt it's easier to manage both in one place. That was a very short-lived thing. And my dad moved on to the apparel side, and my uncle Aslam, who's the group chairman at our holding company, is the one who really transformed Phoenix and brought it to where it is today.
Amazing. So that's really, really interesting. Right? So these are all things that, I mean, even me knowing you, I didn't quite know, like the background behind it. So, okay, I want to focus today on the plastics business, right? A lot of people know about the apparel business.
Happy to.
And I know that your baby is now the plastics business. So the plastics business started, say, in the 70s. What did you all, I know there's a lot of change that has happened recently, but let's
Sure,
talk
yeah.
about before that.
Yeah.
What was your market like? What were your products like when you all initially started?
So yeah, what I was saying earlier, it was a similar ethos to what it is today. My uncle was really brave to take a lot of risks in new technology partnerships in any areas, and that has been ingrained into the culture of Phoenix today also. So if I talk about some of the key milestones that will inform the products as well. Some of the ice cream tubs you see in the market we manufacture. I don't know if many people know that, but
Even today you are manufacturing?
yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Several years ago, my uncle brought a technology that was, it's called in-mold labeling. This is getting technical, where basically it's not a sticker anymore and it's printed onto the plastic lid.
Right, okay.
So if you look at the tubs you might be using at home, you can't peel that branding off. So we were the first in South Asia to bring that technology several years ago. So at that time, the format of the products were quite small. We were doing a lot of small bottles. I think my uncle used to say, live, sleep, eat and breathe plastic. So anything we could get our hands on, we would try to manufacture. And it was a new business for us also.
And at that time, when you all first started, right, say the first 10, 20 years of business, was it B2C or more B2B that you were
It was both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, I honestly don't know which came first, but both have been a big part of our story from the beginning.
Right.
So we do a lot of food packaging, personal care packaging, like shampoos, creams, and toothbrushes. A lot of the toothbrushes you might see in the market we manufacture. So that's on the B2B contract manufacturing side.
Right. And that's something we don't see, because we see the lovely stores and the colorful ads and all of that, but we don't see the B2B side of the business. So there is that whole vertical.
Yes.
It's amazing.
So there are three main verticals at Phoenix today. One is what you see here today, our furniture, household products. And the second is the B2B that we just discussed. It's mainly packaging and toothbrushes. So it's lubricant packaging, food packaging, personal care packaging. And then the last one is the most recent one. We started that business 10 to 12 years ago, which is the pipes and fittings business. We launched it a few years ago under the brand of Super PVC.
I've seen the ad on the highway.
Happy to hear that.
Yes.
So that has a lot of growth potential because it's our newest one and we're one of the smaller players among the others in that market.
And in terms of scale, how many factories do you all have doing the plastic side of the business?
We have one main factory in Markandura, which is near Pannala town. That's quite a large factory. And we have another smaller factory in Horana.
And employee-wise?
We have a team of about 650 people.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so that's I think I really appreciate the background into both the family and now the business, right? And I think, again, like I keep emphasizing, a lot of people who watch this, and even me to a great extent, I mean, I know little bits about the background of your family, but we are very prone to thinking it's only branding. So I'm really happy that we're getting some info on Phoenix out. I also want to kind of focus on your story, right? You grew up in this amazing business family. What was that like? What was growing up around these iconic business leaders who are your dad and uncle now?
I think obviously I have to recognize that we've been really lucky growing up in that environment. But being in the business now, I think I'm lucky and unlucky, depending on which way you look at it. But
those are the how do you put it? Those are the kind of, being in a family business, I guess,
it has its pros and cons like anything, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think joining the business was never pushed on us. It was kind of something that was happening in the periphery. And
I understand you were in the US for university. And you worked there for a while as well, right? Okay.
So I had never planned to join the family business ever.
That was going to be my second question.
Okay. So that was never a part of it because my dad was leading Brandix for most of my childhood. So that was the family business that came to my mind when I thought of it. And
I would think, if you, as a kid who has these two choices, obviously Brandix is a behemoth of a business, one of the world's biggest apparel manufacturers, I would say, right? So when you were for two questions. One, what made you come back to Sri Lanka, right? And two, what made you choose plastics and not apparel?
Yeah. So like I was saying, it was never something I had planned, and I knew I didn't want to get into the apparel side of it because clothes don't excite me. I'm wearing almost full black today. It's not something that has ever excited me. For a while there, I wanted to be an architect. I'm a trained mechanical engineer, so that's what I studied. I chose that instead of architecture because architecture, the program was super long. So the thought of studying for 5 years and doing all the exams felt daunting to me. But I have always leaned in that direction. So I always wanted to get into a creative field that involved building something. But I had never still associated it to Phoenix. And once I graduated in the US after the engineering degree, my only goal was to stay there. Because I was like, as an immigrant there, like get that working visa and stay there and get a few years in, right? So I went into management consulting, which was, I thought I would hate it, but it got me the visa to stay there. So I did it for a few years. It was awesome training.
And when was this around?
This was in 2012.
Okay.
And I stayed in the US for almost 2 years after that. And then I decided I'm done with consulting and I wanted to switch to a more creative field. And then I was applying left, right, and center.
In the US itself?
I was applying everywhere.
Okay.
So, so I got an internship it was called an internship, but it was for a specific role to do 3D modeling for them. As an engineer, I had learned that. So it was a furniture design team in Switzerland. They were contracted to do some custom furniture handmade by two brothers owned that studio. They had their studio upstairs and the workshop downstairs, building wooden furniture with them.
That was your first foray into what would eventually become then this career.
So that was awesome, and then that didn't get extended. So I also wanted a break. So I decided to come home and figure out my next move. In the meantime, I found a design studio here called Colombo Design Studio, owned by a British gentleman who was married to a Sri Lankan. So he used to design airplane seats for Etihad at his previous company. So he was like, I was like, wow, this is a dream environment to be in. But it was one studio, one long table. We used to all sit around. I think there was like 3 or 4 people when I joined.
Amazing.
Subsequently, he has moved back to the UK. So that company doesn't exist anymore. But I still Phoenix wasn't on my radar still.
So, but these conversations about you joining the business are still not happening now, even at the dinner table or wherever.
No, so like I really appreciated that there was never pressure on us to join
that's
it.
really great.
It was always join if it's really your passion. Because, and I was also wary of joining because I knew once I'm in it, it's not a half thing. Like I can't experiment. Like I feel like that would have been difficult. So I knew if I'm in, it's in forever almost. So at one of the family meals, my uncle was asking me what I'm up to. So I said I'm working with this product designer. At that time, we were doing designs for the Lion Brewery outlets.
Oh, wow.
So that was one of the key projects I was involved in personally. So I was explaining that to him and he said, why don't you come and design a chair for me? My world exploded and I was like, why haven't I ever thought of this? So I said, I don't know how to design a chair. I don't know the first thing about it. But my boss would know. So like, why don't we come to Phoenix and check it out? So I went along with him to the factory and I fell in love with the factory instantly. I think my inner engineer woke up and I was like, wow, like what have I been missing out on? Like this is crazy. So so we started working on the chair. That chair unfortunately never got made, but I have been designing and manufacturing chairs ever since. So that was cool. So I was still working with my previous boss. His name is Lee. I was working with him and we were trying to do the chair. And suddenly, so I was also like, I'm curious about Phoenix and how products get made, and it was cool. So I started spending more time there. But in that process, I still hadn't joined full time. I was still working at
dipping your toes in the water.
So I had a good excuse from my earlier job because we were working on the chair. So I was like, I'm going to Phoenix. And suddenly one day, I was doing various different things at this point. And my uncle calls me. I was in the Phoenix office in Kolpiti. his office was across the road.
Yeah.
He called me and he said, I need to meet you. So I walk over to his office and he's sitting with a guy that has just graduated from a product design degree in Moratua, son of his friend. He's like, I've hired this guy, he's reporting to you. So I was like, from tomorrow I need to be full-time then, because I don't know what this guy is going to do. And if, you know, if his person that he's reporting to is nowhere.
He was
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that happened for a few months, and then after that I joined Phoenix officially at the beginning of 2017.
Okay.
So
Brilliant. No,
that's
that's an awesome story.
and I joined to set up a product design team. So what I realized is, as a product heavy company, we didn't have a dedicated design team.
Right. Understood.
So yeah.
And then, okay, so that was awesome. Now you're in the business, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you personally, from my personal experience, I had very little idea of Phoenix Industries or plastics or anything pre the last, say, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
In the last 3-4 years, I feel that you guys have done an incredible job in just bringing out the brand, right? And reinventing the brand. It has become colorful, it has become funky. You have opened these amazing stores, IKEA-like almost. How did that shift happen? How did you go from, okay, this normal plastic player, just like anyone else, to now just being like this amazing lifestyle brand which everyone knows of and everyone wants to have some item in their house?
First of all, thanks a lot for saying that. It makes
I'm not just saying this
everything
because I have
worth
to be
it.
nice to you, by the way.
Yeah.
I genuinely mean it.
Thanks. I really appreciate that, and it really means something to me when I hear that.
Yeah.
So when I started, it was to start the product design team, and it was a shared vision that I had with my uncle, because I used to hear him say over those years to everyone, whenever he spoke to any Phoenix employee, he used to say, I want people to come to a shop and ask for a Phoenix chair, not just a chair. So, and that got me excited as well. So then the first kind of port of like action was, okay, let's look at our product range and see whether it needs an upgrade and what new things can we bring in. And I've been lucky enough to travel a little bit, and whenever I see something that excites me and inspires me, I was able to bring it back.
Awesome.
And
And just jump in there, did you all get any outside help? Did you all get any
yes,
consultancy?
I was just coming
Sorry.
to that. Yeah, sorry. So at that time it was just me and Aaron, the first product designer that was reporting to
Aaron
me.
from Moratua.
Yes, exactly. So, and I felt it's a major disservice to him to be reporting to me. I'm not a trained designer. So then we started looking for a lead designer who could kind of lead the product upliftment at Phoenix. So the products that you see here today are
that we are
all
sitting on, yeah.
products of that effort. And we looked in Sri Lanka, then we opened it out on LinkedIn, and a gentleman called Mark applied from Spain. He was based in Barcelona at that time.
Yeah.
And he was excited about the project that we were explaining to him. So he
So he just
joined.
randomly found a Sri Lankan company on LinkedIn?
Yeah, and he
Wow, that's amazing.
moved to Sri Lanka. Now he's been with us for almost 7 years.
You're kidding.
And he's the head of industrial design at Phoenix.
Unbelievable.
So, and now he has a big team that works with him, designers and engineers from Sri Lanka. And that's how the product upliftment kind of started. So we started, I think at that time when I joined Phoenix, we used to maybe launch 1 or 2 products a year, like a chair every few years. Now the history, I think the average in the last 5 years has been 8 new products every year. So
Wow.
some years have more, some years have less. And some have worked, some have not worked. But that's been really fun for me. And but I had a really clear idea of what needed to happen and what we want to do,
Yeah.
which we started then setting out. So making our chairs more than plastic, an item that you would have at home, like you were saying earlier. And wherever we go, we see our products in everyday life. So
Yeah.
that was something we really wanted to showcase. And Mark and then our marketing team that's led by Tarindu. So the 3 of us kind of started brainstorming, getting the resources we need.
And where did the funky colors and the campaigns come from? Whose brainchild was that?
It was a joint effort. It was all internal.
Right.
So that we call our office the kitchen,
Right.
where the design and marketing team sit. So that's where we kind of say everything gets cooked there. So it was an outcome of a series of discussions with the entire team, and a mix of everything that we've seen
Right.
with our experiences. Yeah.
And I guess it also helps when you have that foreign influence coming in with Mark's expertise.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's a good lesson
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
sometimes in Sri Lanka also, we are like, if you think about it, we are like frogs in a whale, right? It's a very
Yeah.
small economy. We are very closed up. So it's good to kind of get that foreign expertise
Yeah.
in, because it opens your eyes to a lot of different things. That's awesome. And I think, listen, I mean, to be honest, the Phoenix marketing has just become, I think, iconic. Like, you can immediately pick it up. And then now you have the marketing and then you have the product. The third thing that you guys have tied in really well, I feel, is the store, right? Where it's like almost an experience to come in. I mean, you can see it around us today, right? There's one in Palavatta, close to where I live. There's one, I think, in
Panadura. Yes.
And you've made it this amazing, like a lifestyle space. It has food courts, coffee, the whole works. How did that idea come about?
That idea came when I first visited this location. At that time, it was a warehouse.
This was a
outlet.
warehouse that
It was a store,
okay.
and it was a store that was doing well from a business P&L standpoint. But it looked like a warehouse. There was no AC or anything. But I think people around knew it well. They came because what we had here was stuff that people needed. So there was no real need or burning desire from a business standpoint to upgrade it, because there was no issue there.
Yeah, I guess if you're making money, the common thing to do is say, we are making money, why do anything else, right?
But when I came in, it was a 35,000 square foot building that we have here. There was a huge area in the back that was just marshy land that we were not engaging with. So that was not used at all. So that's again started with a conversation with me and my uncle, that I said, like, this is like, we're sitting on a gold mine here. We need to
great location.
So upgrading that, this was the first store that we upgraded, but this took a few years. So once I got the kind of go ahead and initial excitement from my uncle, then I started working on it with the team. So awesome. Mark was really involved in that as well. But it took us about 3 years to finally, from the first conversation to the launch. In the meantime, we got the opportunity when I heard that the Decathlon
was moving out.
So I think my husband called me and said, because I had sent my team multiple times to that store to look at it, to get learnings and get inspiration. So that was a benchmark store in my mind. And when we heard that they were moving out, I remember I was in the middle of the workday. My husband called me and said, this is happening. Like, you should take it. Then that's how those wheels went in motion.
It's amazing how the stars just align, right?
Yeah, and then that store opened before this store, because that's a smaller environment. So,
great. And I must say, for everyone listening, normally we film these podcasts in boardrooms or very closed areas. Today we are in the middle of this amazing space, and I see so many people just walking. It's a Thursday morning, people walking around.
I'm surprised as well.
Yeah, it's really cool to see.
I was telling you it's going to be empty. There's not going to be any action. So
Now we've spoken about your family, we've spoken about you, we've spoken about the business. There is a fourth thing that I really wanted to bring out today, and I think a lot of especially our female listeners will appreciate this. You recently became a mother to a beautiful baby boy, right? Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, one thing that I see, right, in Sri Lanka is that, say now we have our pyramid of employees, say, right? At the bottom of the pyramid, men and women 50-50, right? But as you go up the ladder, the number of women drop off, and most of that is to do with becoming a mom and raising a family, right? A lot of women, even around me who I see, the minute that they have a family, they stop working. You have not done that. You have continued. I mean, how long has it been since you...
He's 5 months.
He's 5 months,
tomorrow.
Right?
So,
5 months tomorrow, and you're out here at the store, right? How have you balanced motherhood and your professional career? Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
So it's still really raw and new, so that I don't think my answer will be structured or cohesive, but I'm just going to say what comes to mind. That I was sure that I wanted to come back soon, because I thought I'd never come back if not.
How were those initial months? Was it very difficult?
They were tough, I think, and I think everybody's journey is so unique is what I've realized, because my sister had a baby 1.5 years ago, and I had a front row seat to the whole thing, and I really enjoyed it. And I saw her go through everything, and I kind of was like, okay, this is great, because at her expense, I've now realized what I can handle and what I can't. That's what I thought. So I was like, I mean, she did a fantastic job and is still doing. And I was really scared also, because I was like, I'm not going to be able to do it the way she's doing it. So that kind of I'm a planner, if you haven't picked up. So that kind of helped me plan out how I'm going to do it, and then leading right up to the delivery, the plan was in place, right? So the day after that, 2 days after, I got chikungunya.
Oh my
and
God.
the plan
Talk about
just
a
went
spanner in
through
the
out the
works.
door. Like my husband and I got it on the same day. So so my entire world was turned upside down. So I had to start planning from zero again. So it was really hard. But I got through it with a lot of help, and I have a fantastic team here. So I really need to give them a shout out. They know who they are. I really felt really supported, and I felt like they really had my back throughout that period. So things were really under control. I was a bit insecure. I was like, do I really need to come back? So that really helped. And I think as companies, we just need to do so much better to support moms in organizations. And as a woman leader, I thought I would have known what to do. And I owe a big apology to all the women that have been pregnant before, and I feel like I haven't done enough. But having gone through it now, I have so many more learnings about giving them the flexibility that they need, and just having conversations with them, planning their departure, making sure they're ready to come back when they come back, making sure the work that they were doing is handled properly. There's a lot of I think care that leaders need to give in that area.
100%. And I think our generation of business leaders, I think will be a bit more aware of these things, I feel at least. And I think changes are happening. You have a lot of, especially in the IT sector, a lot of companies with crashers, full-time daycare. So I think these things are really good things, and I think I hope that our generation will take the lead in kind of changing these things in the corporate world, right? And then we might see that pyramid changing in terms of how the
I'm determined now.
That's awesome. What advice can you give to our listeners, some of whom may be thinking of starting their own businesses, some of whom may already be in family businesses, about kind of crafting your own identity in these businesses that you come to?
I don't like giving advice in general, so I love getting advice. I don't always listen to it, but what comes to mind is kind of share what has worked for me. Maybe that will be helpful for others. So one thing that I've really tried to do as a leader here is really encourage open conversations. That's because my personality, I am quite candid in general. I can't keep anything inside for too long. So if there's something that needs to be said, it will come out, and I think my body language and everything shows for it. So that I feel like that has really helped everybody perform at their optimum here at Phoenix. And it's a difficult culture to create because it's not easy to be open.
Also, especially in the manufacturing establishment, it's not normally a forward-thinking culture anyway.
So we're definitely not there yet, but that has been my style, and the leaders that I have around me today in the company also have that similar style. So I think that's really helping us get to where we want to get to. And the other thing is, I think that's ingrained in us from growing up in the family business environment, is to take risks. So that has I have seen that serve my uncle well in this at Phoenix, and that's something we still carry on. Every time I have a crazy idea, he used to always just say, let's try it. So that has I really appreciate that he gave me that confidence.
Really
and
solid foundation.
That's something I would like to it's a fun way to approach any problem. So
that's awesome. Awesome. I think, listen, I think we had a super conversation. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Dragged you out of your comfort zone.
Like I was saying earlier, I felt too bougie to say no to you.
I'm happy you came, because I want other people also to listen to this story, right? Because it will inspire a lot of people, and also it will bring your brand to a wide audience as well. And not that you need our help to do that, because you've done it yourself.
We need all the help we can get.
But thank you very much for joining, Anam. I really appreciate
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.